Welcome to this video on making sure that PyCharm and Python are all working correctly. My name's Andy Wicks, and in the first video we looked at how to download the software that you need to be able to program in Python. In this video, what we want to do is to establish that everything is working correctly. So let's open PyCharm and see what happens. The first thing that you'll get is the welcome screen, and you'll get a screen like this. If you've downloaded the educational version of PyCharm, you'll have this menu option at the top here, and that allows you to get at materials on how to use Python. What we're going to do is we're going to open a new project. So I click on New Project, and the first thing you'll get is something that looks something similar to this. The first thing you'll be asked to do is to name your project. So I'm going to call this First Project. The next thing you'll be asked for is where your interpreter is hidden away. That will depend on where you've put the interpreter, the Python interpreter. Now in my case, it's in C:\program files in a Python directory for version 3.8 of Python 38, and I'm looking for a file called python.exe. So I go to click on the bits at the side, I go to C:\program files, scroll down to Python 38 in this case, although there may be later versions later on, and double click on Python.exe. And that means that the IDE, the integrated development environment, in this case PyCharm, knows exactly where to find Python so that it can run your code for you. We now click on Create, and away it goes. It takes a moment to finish setting up, but eventually you'll get here. Now, as you can see, there is some code in this right-hand panel. That's because it comes automatically with something called main.py. We're not interested in that, so just to make things clearer, I'm going to get rid of it, not because it's no good, it's just that we don't need it for what's happening here. So to get rid of something, you have to go to Refactor. When you see Refactor, it's got a pop-out menu, and you can now Safe Delete. Safe Delete checks that everything that you're trying to delete is okay to delete. Do not get rid of the venv directory. We need that. You always will. So now we're going to right-click on First Project again and go for New Python File. This will create a file that it will know is Python. And because this is just a test program, I'm going to call it test. Press enter, and as you can see, test is completely blank. Now I'm going to type in a huge program. Normally I like to have my program set up before I start the video, but in this case I wanted to show you how to get here. So I'm going to type in print and then hello world. It's traditional that the first program you write outputs hello world. All that does is check that everything is working. So what we want to do now is to run this program. If this program runs, then everything is set up correctly. So let's try running it by hovering over the Run button. In programming, it's called executing a piece of code. You're not killing it, you execute code. Click on the green triangle, and down the bottom here is the Run output screen. And this shows what you get when you run your program. So as you can see down here it says hello world, which is what we wanted it to print. It also says process finished with exit code 0. And what that means is that your code worked properly. If you get exit code 0, everything is fine. If you get other exit codes, then there are things that you need to look at, and we'll get into that sort of thing later on. But if you end up with hello world like this, your setup is working correctly. You have PyCharm working, and you've got Python exe working correctly with PyCharm. Thank you for listening.